Hello, I'm Fish. Welcome to the Bite of Fish. And here is one of the C64s I picked up off the internet. Old 80s computer. I don't know much about it. I want to get using it, but one of the issues with it is I can't just plug it in and make it work. These things are expecting specific voltages, specific levels, and these crappy solid power bricks that they used to have, because they're cast in this junk, all the components will heat up and fail over time, and they're known to overvolt, and if you send too much voltage into the board, it'll overheat and fry the chips. So I want to do my part in preserving this hopefully beautiful machine and even play some games that were released this year. So hang on with me and let's go for a ride. Glub, glub, glub.
And as much as it pains most people to see you cut into something all old and historic, we're just gonna go snip. And that's it. If anyone wants this, seriously, just speak up and I'll send it to you, because I have no useful use for it. Freaking beautiful. Alright, we're going to check this quick. So, this is my cable. I've got two black plugs, a blue and a brown. I'm guessing because AC's polarity shouldn't matter, I'm guessing these are AC and I'm guessing these are 5 volts. So we'll start with the 5 volt ground here. Oh, first try, look at that. So light blue. Top pin's light blue. Second pin's ground, so light blue, brown. Black, I know that sounds terrible, and black. So at this point then, we know light blue and brown. Again, light blue is going to be ground. And plus 5 is going to be brown. So we just need to splice that to the 5 volt cable, splice the other two to the 9 volt cable, and we'll be in business. One thing you always need is heat shrink. So we're going to take these two cables and we're going to want to marry them in so that each of these 4 leads will be soldered together. We're going to have heat shrink tubing that we pull over, and then we'll take one big one over all that. So the final heat shrink needs to be bigger than this. My worry is I won't have the right color because my black is a little too diametrous for this. This one's a little smaller. Ooh, we might be in luck here. This might be just right. Look at that. Yeah, that'll shrink. That'll shrink nicely. So we're going to slide that way down so we don't melt it. I'm thinking this black looks pretty good. It's a little bigger than it needs to be, but it should shrink nicely. So let's get 4 of these going. And since they don't need to be too long, I'll just take 2 of these, snip them in 2. I always pre-tin everything. It makes life so much easier. But I always just heat up a bit, iron to metal. Once the metal heats, it sucks it right up. So those 4 are gorgeous enough for what we're doing today. I'm going to glob it on. Those 2 are good, and then my cats are wondering what the fark I'm doing. Sorry, kitties, I'm ignoring you right now because I've got a hot iron out. Concept staying the same. I know I'm not in perfect focus, but the concept's there. I'll do the next part in focus for you. Got a good blue solder here. We've got my iron a little bit on the iron. Just stick the 2 together. Melt it up and let them just stick together. Make a nice, good, shiny connection. Yeah, it's not perfect. People are going to complain, but those 2 wires aren't going to disconnect. Got brown with brown. Brown with negative. I'm just going to heat them up both together. Get them nice and gloopy. Cable's a little hot in my hand. I'll let go. Honestly, not perfect, but I didn't break it apart either. So what's nice is when the time comes, we literally just heat shrink over it. We'll run the hot heat gun on that, and those 2 connections are isolated from each other and good. Add a little extra gloop. Add a little gloop. I'm going to do these both quick. That one melted right away, stuck together. Right together, and boom. That's it. We've made a power supply. So like that, look at that. We've got kind of a janky little power supply. But let us not forget, we also kept a bigger thing to marry the rest together. I usually pinch back here to make sure I've got enough. See how these won't be fully covered, but back here's got a good inch to keep it stable. I always start on the one end, and it usually just shrivels right up. Look at that, that's some good heat shrink. Wouldn't you know? We have now that. One thing I should have done is plugged everything in and tested it, but what fun is that? One thing I forgot to mention, and I've never actually been taught properly, is that common is supposed to be the ground, and then the other port is usually the other probe on a multimeter. Apparently the 10 amp one is for when you're measuring larger currents, so it's fused and you don't fry everything and mess everything up. So one easy way to check to know that you're an idiot, and I did this last night when I realized, we're going to go direct current on my meter. You can see the voltage. I've got red plugged into the positive, black into the negative. We always know a battery, plus side. If I connect this, I'm getting a solid 1.4 positive volts. So I know this polarity is right. So leave my poor little Xbox controller alone. We slide in the connector here, so we know center is supposed to be negative, and that's supposed to be positive. I'm getting negative. I did the whole dang thing backwards. And not only that, I like how beautifully I heat shrink this. So we're going to cheat the system more today, but let's also check our AC while we're at it. This shouldn't matter because polarity... Yeah, we're still getting the 10.8 from yesterday. So, probably hurts more people than it hurts me. Boink! Future fish here. Quick note, the reason why I'm cutting this is so I can swap the two wires, so the positive is to the negative is to the positive, because I messed up inside my connector that I soldered earlier, and I don't want to undo all the work there. That's solid white. This is not solid white, so we want to merge these two guys together. DC. DC, 20 volts. Look at that. Ground is negative. I'm okay with that. And then let's actually check the AC to make sure nothing changed. When you touch the two tips together, it sparks. We've got one of the C64s that I'll go over where and how I got it. This one's a little rough. I think this one has a bad SID chip, but we'll discover that eventually. Power in the hole, switches off, ready, fire in the hole. I like red lights. I'm happy. So that's the end of video number 1. Thank you for stopping by and enjoy this bonus content. Because who doesn't want some kitty cats?